Have you ever felt like life is just one big storm? Deadlines at work piling up, constant conflicts with family or friends, unexpected problems popping up out of nowhere. It's so easy to feel like you're drowning, like you're being pulled in 100 different directions at once. But imagine for a second, standing right in the middle of that storm, completely calm. You're not panicking, not flailing, but standing strong and steady, like a lighthouse in the middle of crashing waves. That's not just some poetic fantasy, it's actually possible. And the key lies in an ancient philosophy called Stoicism. Unlike what many people think, Stoicism isn't about suppressing your emotions or pretending nothing bothers you. It's about learning to master your mind, so external chaos no longer dictates your inner world. Think about it. What if you could walk into a stressful meeting at work and still keep a clear, confident mind? Or handle a heated argument at home without letting anger or frustration take over? Stoicism teaches you exactly that. It helps you separate what you can control, your thoughts, your reactions, your decisions, from what you can't, like other people's opinions or random events. One of the most powerful things I learned from practicing Stoicism is that we can't always choose what happens to us, but we can always choose how we respond. Marcus Aurelius, the Roman emperor and one of the most famous Stoic thinkers, faced endless wars, betrayals, and personal losses, yet he still found a way to remain grounded and even compassionate. That's real strength. I remember when I first discovered this philosophy. I was overwhelmed, juggling too many responsibilities and constantly feeling like I was on edge. But slowly, as I started applying Stoic principles, pausing before reacting, focusing on what I could actually influence, letting go of what was out of my hands, everything began to change. I wasn't less busy or facing fewer problems, but I felt stronger, more resilient, and much more at peace. So today, I want to invite you to take that first step with me. Imagine what your life could look like if you weren't constantly thrown around by every unexpected event or harsh word. What if you had an unshakable sense of calm, no matter what life threw your way? In this video, we're going to explore how Stoicism can help you build that inner fortress, a mindset so solid that nothing on the outside can shake it. By the end, you'll have practical tools to start mastering your emotions and living a more meaningful, fulfilled life. Ready to find that calm center within the chaos? Let's dive in. When life feels like an endless roller coaster, one minute you're up, the next you're spiraling down, it's easy to feel lost or overwhelmed. Maybe you're juggling a demanding job, taking care of family, or struggling to find meaning in the daily grind. But what if I told you there's a timeless blueprint that can help you ride these ups and downs with more strength and clarity? That blueprint is Stoicism. And at the heart of it are 10 powerful principles that have been tested for centuries. These aren't just abstract ideas that sound nice on paper. They are practical tools, like a mental survival kit, that you can use every single day to build real inner strength. Imagine facing a tough conversation with your partner or a difficult colleague at work. Instead of reacting with anger or shutting down, what if you had the mental tools to stay calm, present, and focused on what truly matters? Or think about those days when you feel overwhelmed by endless responsibilities. These Stoic principles teach you how to prioritize, how to focus on what you can control, and let go of what you can't. I remember when I first started applying these ideas. There was a time when I felt stuck in a cycle of stress, constantly chasing after goals that didn't even feel like mine. But once I began practicing even just a few of these principles, like accepting what I can't change and taking deliberate action on what I can, life started to feel lighter, more purposeful. What's beautiful about these 10 Stoic principles is that they're universal. It doesn't matter if you're an entrepreneur battling market changes, a parent trying to raise kids in an unpredictable world, or simply someone searching for more peace and purpose, these principles meet you exactly where you are. Throughout this video series, we're going to break each principle down and show you how to actually use them in your daily life. We're talking about real, actionable steps, not just philosophical talk. You'll learn how to strengthen your mind like you would train a muscle at the gym, how to stay centered when people criticize you, and how to turn setbacks into stepping stones toward a better version of yourself. So, take a moment and ask yourself, what would your life look like if you didn't let every challenge knock you off course? What if you could wake up each morning with a clear purpose and the confidence to handle whatever comes your way? If you're ready to stop just surviving and start truly thriving, these Stoic principles might just be the guide you've been searching for. Let's dive into them together, and start building that unshakable inner fortress, one principle at a time. Part 2, finding a firm life purpose. Have you ever felt like you're drifting through life, unsure where you're really heading? Like you're on a boat in the middle of a vast ocean, and no matter how hard you row, you're not sure if you're moving in the right direction? That's exactly why having a clear, solid purpose is so important. Epictetus, one of the great Stoic philosophers, believed that knowing your purpose isn't just helpful, it's essential. He taught that when life throws storms at you, it's your purpose that acts like a compass, guiding you back on course no matter how rough the waves get. But finding this purpose isn't something that happens overnight. It requires deep, honest self-reflection. You have to ask yourself big, sometimes uncomfortable questions. Who do I really want to become? What values do I stand for? What am I willing to dedicate my time and energy to, even when things get hard? When you finally define your purpose clearly, something amazing happens. Challenges that once seemed like giant mountains turn into stepping stones. Obstacles stop feeling like dead ends and start feeling like valuable lessons, shaping you into a stronger, wiser version of yourself. Think about the last time you faced a major setback. Did you feel lost, defeated, or maybe even question everything? Now imagine having an unwavering purpose in those moments, something so deeply rooted in your soul that no setback could ever fully knock you down. Instead of being thrown around by life's chaos, you'd feel anchored, steady, and focused on your long-term vision. I remember a time when I felt completely stuck, overwhelmed by too many responsibilities and outside pressures. It wasn't until I sat down, journaled for hours, and asked myself those tough questions that I began to see a clear direction. Once I committed to that deeper purpose, every decision, big or small, started to make more sense. But here's the thing, finding your purpose is just the beginning. You need to protect it and nurture it every single day. Like a lighthouse guiding ships through the dark, your purpose has to be maintained, kept strong and shining bright. That means showing up for yourself even when it's hard, staying true to your values when it would be easier to give in, and reminding yourself regularly why you started this journey in the first place. So, what is your purpose? What keeps you grounded when everything else feels uncertain? Take time today to think about it, write it down, and let it become your anchor. Because once you find that firm purpose, you'll discover a level of resilience and inner peace that nothing, and no one, can ever take away from you. Part 3: Mastering your mind and emotions. Have you ever felt like your emotions are running the show? One minute you're calm, and the next, someone says something annoying and you're instantly angry. Or maybe a small setback ruins your entire day. We've all been there. But what if I told you that you have more power over your emotions than you think? See, our emotions don't just appear out of nowhere. They come from our thoughts, from how we interpret and frame what's happening around us. The incredible part is, we can choose how to react instead of letting our emotions control us. Imagine being able to pause in the heat of the moment, take a breath, and decide, how do I actually want to respond right now? Every time you resist that urge to snap back, or you stop yourself from spiraling into negativity, you're actually strengthening what I like to call your mental muscle. Just like going to the gym, the more you practice, the stronger it gets. One practical way to start? Set small, achievable goals each day. Maybe it's as simple as taking a 5-minute walk when you feel overwhelmed or pausing for a moment before answering a stressful email. By doing this, you train your brain to stay present and build self-awareness. Think of it like a baker perfecting their craft. A true baker doesn't let every piece of praise or criticism throw them off. They focus on the dough, the timing, the technique, fully present with their hands and heart in the process. That's the same mindset we need when working on our inner world. But it's not just about resisting bad habits, it's also about protecting your mind. Build a mental fence around your thoughts. Choose carefully what and who you allow into your mental space. Just like you wouldn't let trash pile up in your home, don't let toxic media, negative people, or unhelpful opinions clutter your mind. Meditation and mindfulness are powerful tools here. They help you watch your thoughts without immediately reacting. It's like creating a gap between what happens to you and how you choose to respond. In that gap lies your true freedom. For me, practicing mindfulness completely changed the way I deal with challenges. I used to get caught up in worries and what-ifs, but once I learned to sit with my thoughts and observe them without judgment, I realized how much calmer and more in control I could feel. So, next time you feel anger rising or anxiety taking over, pause. Breathe. Ask yourself, what's really happening here? Is this worth my peace? Over time, you'll find that your mind becomes stronger, your reactions slower and wiser, and your inner peace much harder to shake. Mastering your emotions isn't about becoming cold or detached. It's about staying centered, present, and true to your best self, no matter what life throws at you. And that, my friend, is real power. Part 4: Embracing and Overcoming Criticism. Have you ever felt crushed by someone's harsh words? Maybe a coworker questioned your ideas, a friend criticized your choices, or a stranger online left a comment that stung more than you'd like to admit. We've all been there. But here's something powerful to remember: we can't control what others say or do, but we can always control how we respond. Criticism is a part of life. No matter how kind or careful you are, at some point, someone will judge or misunderstand you. But instead of letting these words cut deep and define you, imagine using them as opportunities to grow stronger. The first step? Truly knowing yourself. When you understand your own values and intentions, criticism loses much of its power. You stop questioning your worth based on someone else's opinion because you know exactly why you do what you do. Think of it like building emotional armor, but not the kind that makes you cold or closed off. This is a thick skin made from patience, kindness, and self-awareness. Each time you practice staying calm in the face of criticism, you're reinforcing that protective layer. Instead of reacting immediately or defensively, try pausing and asking yourself, is there any truth in what they're saying? Sometimes feedback, even when delivered harshly, can hold valuable lessons. Other times, it might just reflect the other person's insecurities or misunderstandings. You don't have to accept every critique as gospel, but being open to learn shows maturity and strength. I remember a time when I received a harsh review on a project I poured my heart into. My first instinct was to get angry and defend myself. But after taking a step back, I realized that part of the feedback could actually help me improve. By choosing to listen instead of fight, I not only improved my work but also deepened my relationship with that colleague. Sometimes, discussing criticism openly can turn potential conflicts into stronger connections. By calmly explaining your perspective and listening to theirs, you foster respect and understanding. This doesn't just make you stronger, it inspires others too. When people see you handle criticism with grace and composure, they notice. You become a role model for resilience and emotional intelligence. You show that true strength isn't about never being criticized but about standing firm in who you are while remaining open to growth. So next time someone criticizes you, remember, you have a choice. You can let it shake your confidence, or you can use it as a stepping stone to become even stronger. Ask yourself, what can I learn from this? How can I grow? With each experience, your emotional armor gets stronger, and your inner peace becomes harder to disrupt. Embracing criticism is a powerful part of the Stoic journey, one that helps you build unshakable confidence and a calm mind, no matter what the world throws at you. And that, in the end, is a superpower worth developing. Part 5: Transforming Offense into Inner Strength. Have you ever had someone say something that instantly made your blood boil? Maybe it was a rude comment, a harsh joke, or a passive-aggressive remark that just hit you in the gut. In those moments, it feels like the offense itself is what hurts us. But here's a mind-shifting truth: it's not the words or actions that truly harm us, it's how we interpret them. Think about that for a second. The same words that make one person furious might not bother someone else at all. Why? Because it all depends on perspective. This is where one of the most powerful Stoic practices comes in: cognitive reframing. Instead of seeing an offensive comment as a personal attack, what if you saw it as an opportunity to learn or grow? For example, if a colleague criticizes your idea harshly, your first instinct might be to defend yourself or feel insulted. But what if, instead, you asked yourself, is there any truth here that I can learn from? Or is this about them and their own struggles? By shifting the way you see the situation, you take back your power. Another important step is practicing empathy. When someone lashes out, it often says more about their inner world than about you. Maybe they're stressed, insecure, or dealing with personal challenges we can't see. By putting yourself in their shoes, you start to respond with understanding instead of anger. And then there's forgiveness, the ultimate act of freedom. Holding on to offense and resentment is like carrying a heavy backpack everywhere you go. It weighs you down and drains your energy. But when you choose to forgive, you're not saying what they did was okay, you're simply deciding not to let it control your peace anymore. You let go for your own sake, so you can move forward lighter and stronger. I've experienced this firsthand. There was a time when a close friend said something that deeply hurt me. At first, I replayed it over and over in my head, feeling angry and betrayed. But once I paused, looked at it from a different angle, and tried to understand where they were coming from, I realized it wasn't worth sacrificing my peace. By forgiving, I felt a wave of relief and clarity. Every offense you face is like a workout for your inner strength. Just like muscles grow stronger under resistance, your spirit becomes more resilient each time you choose patience, understanding, and forgiveness over anger and bitterness. Next time someone offends you, ask yourself, what can I learn here? How can I grow from this? With practice, you'll notice that fewer and fewer things have the power to shake you. You'll start to see offense not as a threat, but as a chance to become even stronger. Transforming offense isn't about being weak or passive, it's about building unshakable inner strength and protecting your most valuable asset, your peace of mind. And that, in today's chaotic world, might just be your greatest superpower. Part 6, Facing Fear and Shame Head-On. Let's be real for a second, fear and shame are two emotions that can completely take over our lives if we let them. Fear often shows up as that voice in your head whispering, what if you fail? What if they judge you? What if you're not good enough? It's usually rooted in the unknown, in worst-case scenarios that rarely ever happen. But here's the thing, the more we avoid our fears, the bigger and scarier they become. The Stoics taught us that instead of running away, we should analyze our fears, break them down piece by piece, and look at them clearly. Ask yourself, what exactly am I afraid of? What's the absolute worst that could happen? And if it did happen, could I survive it? Most of the time, when you actually confront your fears this way, they lose their power over you. The same goes for shame. Shame is like a heavy cloak we carry, usually born from old mistakes or social expectations. Maybe you made a bad decision years ago and you still replay it in your mind. Or maybe you feel ashamed because you don't live up to what society says you should be by a certain age. But what if, instead of letting shame define you, you treated it as a teacher? When we reflect on our mistakes with honesty and compassion, we can learn valuable lessons and grow stronger. And here's a big one, forgive yourself. You can't change the past, but you can decide what it means for your future. One powerful way to work through fear and shame is gradual exposure. If you're terrified of public speaking, start small. Share your thoughts in a meeting with a few people. Then maybe speak up in a slightly larger group. Over time, the fear shrinks as your confidence grows. Another key is to share your struggles with someone you trust. A close friend, a mentor, or even a therapist. When we bring our fears and shame into the open, they lose their grip. You realize you're not alone, and often, you'll find that others have faced the same challenges and can offer insight or simply a listening ear. I remember a time when I was paralyzed by the fear of failure. I avoided taking risks, stuck to what felt safe, and as a result, I felt stuck and unfulfilled. But once I started breaking it down, asking myself, what's really the worst that could happen? Can I handle it? I realized I had been giving too much power to my imagination. The moment I took that first scary step, everything started to shift. Facing fear and shame isn't about becoming fearless or never feeling embarrassed again. It's about reclaiming control. It's about deciding that your growth and peace of mind are more important than the opinions of others or your own harsh self-criticism. So, what fears have been holding you back? What past mistakes are you still carrying like heavy baggage? Take a moment today to look at them directly. Start small, share with someone you trust, and forgive yourself. Because on the other side of fear and shame is a freedom and strength you might not even know exists yet. And that journey starts with one brave step forward. Part 7, Anticipating Obstacles, Premeditatio Malorum. Have you ever had a day where everything just seemed to go wrong? You spill your coffee first thing in the morning, get stuck in traffic, miss an important meeting, and by noon, you feel completely defeated. We often think these setbacks come out of nowhere, but what if I told you there's a way to prepare your mind so these moments don't knock you off balance? The Stoics had a powerful practice called premeditatio malorum, which means the premeditation of evils. But don't let that dramatic name scare you. it's not about becoming negative or expecting the worst all the time. It's about being mentally ready so you aren't caught off guard. Imagine you're about to give a big presentation. Instead of only visualizing everything going perfectly, you take a moment to consider, what if the slides don't work? What if someone asks a tough question? What if you forget a point? By calmly thinking through these possible challenges in advance, you give yourself the space to prepare practical solutions and emotional responses ahead of time. This practice helps you stay flexible. Life rarely follows our perfect plans, unexpected twists are part of the game. When you expect that plans might shift, you're much more open to adapt and move forward gracefully instead of spiraling into frustration or panic. I remember before my first major public talk, I used this exact technique. I pictured the mic not working, forgetting my lines, even awkward silence from the audience. But by imagining it, I realized I could bring backup notes, practice recovery lines, and remind myself that silence isn't the end of the world. When the day came, even though a few hiccups did happen, I felt calm, almost like I had already lived those challenges before. Combining this mindset with mindfulness makes it even stronger. When you're mindful, you observe situations as they are instead of how you wish they would be. You learn to accept each moment and respond thoughtfully, not react impulsively. It also helps to reflect on past experiences. Think back, what obstacles did you face last time? How did you handle them? What could you do differently now? Learning from these patterns builds patience and resilience over time. This approach isn't about becoming pessimistic or overly cautious. It's about building a strong mental foundation so that when things inevitably go sideways, you don't crumble. You keep moving forward with patience and persistence. So next time you're about to start something big, a new job, a difficult conversation, or even just a challenging day, take a few minutes to imagine what could go wrong. Not to scare yourself, but to empower yourself. Ask, how can I handle this? What resources do I have? Who can I lean on if things get tough? By practicing premeditatio malorum, you'll find that life surprises feel less like threats and more like puzzles waiting to be solved. And over time, you'll develop a calm confidence that no setback can easily shake. That's the true power of a prepared mind. Part 8. Building Inner Strength. When we think of strength, we often picture physical power, someone lifting heavy weights or running a marathon. But what about the strength that no one sees? The quiet, unshakable strength inside you that carries you through the hardest days? That's what the Stoics called true power. It starts with one fundamental idea: learning to separate what you can control from what you can't. You can't control the economy, other people's opinions, or unexpected setbacks. But you can always control your thoughts, your actions, and your attitude. Once you fully embrace this distinction, life suddenly feels lighter and more manageable. Forgiveness is a big piece of this puzzle. Holding on to resentment is like drinking poison and expecting someone else to get sick. By choosing to forgive, not for them, but for your own peace, you free up mental and emotional energy that you can use to move forward. Inner strength is also forged through challenges. Think about the last time you faced a setback. Did you give up or find a way to push through? Every failure, every disappointment, is a chance to build mental resilience. It's like forging steel, it needs to be put through the fire to become stronger. But here's something many people overlook: you don't have to do it alone. Surrounding yourself with a supportive community and leaning into your faith or personal beliefs can reinforce your inner strength. Whether it's a close friend, a mentor, a spiritual group, or a hobby community, these connections remind you that you're not alone and give you extra courage to keep going. Practicing gratitude is another simple yet transformative habit. When you focus on what you have instead of what you lack, you train your mind to see abundance rather than scarcity. Even in difficult times, there's always something to be thankful for: a kind word, a moment of calm, a small victory. And finally, true inner strength means accepting yourself fully, your flaws, your fears, your imperfections. It might sound counterintuitive, but owning your vulnerabilities actually makes you stronger. When you stop fighting who you are and start embracing it, you transform weaknesses into unique sources of strength. I remember a time when I felt completely lost after a major personal failure. I was ashamed and ready to hide from the world. But through reflection and support from friends, I learned to accept my mistakes as part of my story, not the end of it. Instead of letting that failure define me, I used it as fuel to grow into someone wiser and more resilient. So ask yourself, what are you holding on to that's draining your energy? What failures or flaws are you still beating yourself up over? Start by focusing on what you can control. Let go of grudges. Surround yourself with good people. Count your blessings. And accept yourself fully, as you are today. Because real strength isn't about pretending to be unbreakable. It's about being whole, authentic, and willing to keep moving forward, no matter how many times you fall. That's the kind of strength that lasts, and it's the foundation of a truly powerful life. Part 9. Practicing self-restraint in action. Let's be honest, in today's world of instant gratification, self-restraint almost feels like an outdated skill. We're constantly bombarded with, buy now, react now, reply instantly. But here's a powerful truth: true freedom and inner peace often come not from saying yes to every impulse, but from learning when to pause and say no. Think about how many times you've regretted saying something in the heat of the moment. Or making a quick decision you later wished you hadn't. Self-restraint isn't about denying yourself joy or becoming emotionless, it's about creating space between a stimulus and your response. That tiny pause gives you the power to act intentionally instead of react impulsively. For example, before sending that angry email, take a breath. Ask yourself, is this going to help the situation? Does this reflect the person I want to be? More often than not, a moment of reflection saves you from unnecessary conflicts and regrets. Another key aspect of self-restraint is delaying gratification. We live in a world where we can order almost anything with one click, stream any show instantly, and get dopamine hits from social media likes every few minutes. But imagine the growth that happens when you hold off on instant rewards to focus on long-term goals. Whether it's saving money instead of making an impulse buy or sticking to a workout plan instead of skipping for quick comfort, each act of patience strengthens your inner discipline. Self-restraint also shows up in how we communicate. Words are powerful. Once spoken, they can't be taken back. Before speaking, ask, is this true? Is it necessary? Is it kind? By choosing words mindfully, you build trust, strengthen relationships, and reflect your values. Developing self-restraint is like building a muscle. It takes daily practice and intentional effort. Create habits and systems that support your goals. Plan your days so you don't leave space for distractions. Set clear boundaries, with yourself and with others. I remember a time when I used to react to every piece of criticism immediately, jumping to defend myself without really listening. Over time, I realized that pausing, taking a step back, and reflecting first not only protected my energy but also led to better outcomes and stronger connections. Acting from reason rather than pure emotion doesn't make you robotic, it makes you powerful. It means you're in control of your actions instead of letting temporary emotions dictate your path. So, what areas in your life could benefit from more self-restraint? Where are you letting impulses steer you away from who you truly want to be? Take a moment to reflect. Build that pause. Protect your energy. Because in the end, practicing self-restraint isn't about restriction, it's about creating the freedom to live in alignment with your deepest values and long-term vision. And that, my friend, is a kind of freedom worth fighting for. Part 10. Practicing acceptance. Have you ever noticed how much energy we waste fighting reality? We wish things were different, that our job was easier, that our partner would change, that we hadn't made certain mistakes. But here's the hard truth: the more we resist what is, the more we suffer. Acceptance isn't about giving up. It's about seeing the situation clearly, as it truly is, and choosing to act from a place of calm rather than frustration. When we accept reality, we can finally focus our energy on what we can actually do, instead of getting stuck in endless what-ifs and regrets. Let's talk about perfectionism. So many of us strive to have the perfect career, the perfect body, the perfect life. But perfection is an illusion, and chasing it only leads to exhaustion and disappointment. Imagine how freeing it would feel to let go of that constant pressure and instead embrace your flaws and failures as part of your story. I remember a time when I obsessed over every small detail in my work, always feeling it was never good enough. The stress was overwhelming. It wasn't until I learned to accept imperfection, to see it as an opportunity to grow and learn, that I truly started to feel at peace with myself and my work. Gratitude plays a huge role here too. When you focus on what you have rather than what's missing, you nurture a sense of contentment and inner peace. Every morning, ask yourself, what can I be thankful for today? It could be as simple as a warm cup of coffee, a supportive friend, or a moment of quiet. These small acknowledgments build a foundation of joy that no external achievement can match. Acceptance also extends to the people around us. We often hold on to expectations of how others should act or who they should be. But when we let go of these expectations and accept people as they are, with their strengths and flaws, our relationships become much healthier and more fulfilling. Of course, this doesn't mean tolerating harmful behavior or staying silent when boundaries are crossed. True acceptance includes honoring your own needs and setting healthy boundaries. It's about finding the balance between compassion for others and respect for yourself. So, ask yourself today, what parts of your life are you resisting? Where are you still clinging to perfection or holding unrealistic expectations? What would change if you chose to accept instead of fight? When you start practicing acceptance, you free yourself from unnecessary suffering. You create space to act with clarity and purpose. And perhaps most importantly, you open the door to deeper gratitude and genuine peace. Because at the end of the day, life is not about controlling every outcome. It's about flowing with what comes your way, growing from every twist and turn, and finding beauty in the imperfection of it all. And that, my friend, is the heart of a truly resilient and fulfilling life. Part 11, Living in Harmony with Nature. In our fast-paced, hyper-connected world, we often forget one simple truth: we are part of nature, not separate from it. But what does it really mean to live in harmony with nature? It starts with truly understanding yourself, knowing who you are at your core, beyond titles, social roles, or expectations. When you live in alignment with your true nature, you make choices that reflect your real values, not what society tells you to value. You stop chasing endless external validation and start moving toward what genuinely fulfills you. Nature also teaches us about cycles. Just like the seasons change, from growth to harvest to rest and renewal, our lives have natural rhythms too. There will be times of growth, times of stillness, and times of letting go. When we accept these cycles rather than resist them, we move through life with more grace and less frustration. Cultivating core virtues is a big part of this journey. Wisdom helps you see clearly and make better choices. Courage gives you the strength to face hard truths and take action. Justice reminds you to act fairly and honorably, while temperance, or self-control, keeps you grounded and balanced. These virtues aren't just abstract ideals, they're practical tools for daily living. Another key aspect is nurturing supportive, harmonious relationships. We are social beings by nature. When we connect, help, and uplift others, we not only strengthen our communities but also create a deeper sense of belonging and purpose within ourselves. Simplicity is another powerful way to align with nature. When we strip away unnecessary clutter, whether it's physical stuff, toxic relationships, or endless distractions, we make room for what truly matters: authentic connections, meaningful experiences, and inner peace. Living in harmony with nature also means gratitude and sustainability. Appreciating what we have, caring for the environment, and making mindful choices about consumption aren't just good for the planet, they're good for our souls. Imagine the sense of fulfillment that comes from knowing you're living lightly on the earth and contributing to the well-being of future generations. Mindfulness ties all of this together. When we practice being present, whether through meditation, deep breathing, or simply pausing to notice the world around us, we reconnect with ourselves and the greater web of life. We realize we're not just observers of nature, we are nature. I remember a time when I was constantly chasing external success and felt disconnected from everything around me. It wasn't until I started simplifying my life, focusing on my core values, and spending more time in nature that I felt truly alive and at peace. So ask yourself, are you living in a way that honors your true self? Are your daily choices aligned with the natural flow of life, or are you constantly fighting against it? By choosing to live in harmony with nature, you create a life rooted in authenticity, balance, and deep connection. And in a world that constantly pulls us outward, this return to simplicity and essence might be the most radical, life-changing act of all. Conclusion: mastering your mind, finding true peace. So, after everything we've explored together, let me ask you this: what if the real power you're searching for has been inside you all along? We spend so much time trying to control the world outside us, our jobs, other people's opinions, the endless unpredictable events life throws at us. But Stoicism teaches us that true strength doesn't come from bending the world to our will. It comes from mastering our own mind. Imagine standing in the middle of a storm, the wind howling, the rain pouring down, yet you remain calm and grounded. That's what happens when you shift your focus inward. Instead of wasting energy fighting what you can't change, you learn to control your thoughts, your reactions, and the way you show up in the world. When you practice this, you discover a deep, unshakable peace. You stop being tossed around by every setback or harsh word. You start to respond instead of react. You find joy not in fleeting external wins but in the steady strength you've built inside. I remember when I first started applying these ideas. I was so focused on trying to fix everything around me, make everyone happy, chase every achievement, avoid every failure. But no matter how hard I tried, there was always something outside my control. It wasn't until I learned to look inward, to focus on my own mind and heart, that I found real freedom. This is the heart of Stoicism, learning that you are enough as you are, and that your peace depends on you, not on what the world does or doesn't give you. So today, I invite you to start this journey. Let Stoic wisdom guide you. Build that inner fortress. Strengthen your mind like you would train your body. Embrace challenges as opportunities to grow rather than threats to your happiness. Ask yourself, what parts of my life am I trying too hard to control? What would change if I focused on mastering my own mind instead? When you do this, you'll discover that real happiness doesn't come from external success or constant approval. It comes from knowing you can handle whatever life brings, with grace, courage, and calm. Let's choose this path together. Let's become stronger, more grounded, and truly free, not by controlling the world, but by mastering ourselves. Because in the end, that's where your true power and lasting peace live.